Namaste and greetings. And before you say anything, for those of you who are DC or Marvel aficionados, I know that I am wearing DC and it is conflicting with Marvel related paraphernalia. I know, and it's okay. Believe me, it will reveal itself momentarily in terms of why. Now, today's discussion, we are going into the idea of, okay, so I'm renewed, I'm revitalized, I'm reinvigorated. Okay, so now what? What's next? And for any of you who were either present at the recent February convention for CSL or were present online virtually, you know that if you were present for my talk, then you know that I referenced Dr. Holmes' Sermon by the Sea, delivered at Asilomar, when he said, "You are religious science. I am not. I am only someone who puts something together. I don't even take myself seriously, but I take what I am doing seriously. You are religious science. You are ministers. You are teachers, our practitioners, our laity. You, the community, are religious science." He goes on to say, "You find me 1,000 people in the world who know what religious science is, they know how to use it and are doing so, and they live it as a way of life. And I myself will see a new world, a new heaven, and a new earth here. You are religious science." Note, he did not say you are a religious scientist. You are religious science. What is that? What does that mean? How do you explain it? Especially when it gets to how are you explaining it as a way of life that you're living? Because therein lies why the DC Marvel combination. Because for me, it need not be an either or. Either I represent DC or I represent Marvel. There's an intersection that shows up as me. There's an intersection that shows up as Black, gay, cisgender male, comic book nerd, science fiction nerd, visual artist, American Sign Language performer, former interpreter, etc. Various intersections. It need not be either or. How do we live into the both and? And referencing the idea of, so I'm newly reinvigorated, recharged, newly upgraded. I'm new. Now what? What's next? How many of us have heard the phrase, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. What if there is simply enlightenment as chopping wood, as carrying water, and that's it? What if the moment we get into, because we often note the word before enlightenment, that gives the idea of it's done. Much like often we reference, I am healed, done, versus because I am ever in motion, ever in change, I am ever healing, ever evolving, ever expanding consciousness, embodied. So the process of enlightening, being enlightening, being the embodiment of enlightenment as an ongoing process, which is why enlightening, doing laundry, ironing sheets, enlightening, taking a nap, walking the dogs, enlightening. Because then everything that I am now engaged in gives me the opportunity to receive greater and greater feedback in terms of how am I showing up? Is this what I desire to have reflected back at me? In what way am I showing up as the very power and presence of love and compassion and joy? Moment by moment, interaction by interaction, breath by breath. So show me 1,000 people, find me 1,000 people who know what religious science is. Did he mean that 1,000 literally? Because I would venture to say there are at least 1,000 people today who know what religious science is and use it and live it as a way of life. Because if that's the case, if he meant that number literally, then where is the new world? Where is the new heaven? Where is the new earth that he was referencing? And I specifically mention this because I want to poke the sacred cow. There is this idea within New Thought, within CSL, within religious science, science of mind and spirit, where it is easy for us to remain in the realm of spiritual bypass, metaphysical malpractice, metaphysical masturbation, where we're not really doing the work that we could. Which is one reason why, for many, not all, but for many, we find it so difficult to actually explain what religious science is without talking about what it's not. Because we ourselves do not engage in the practice of actually speaking anything other than jargon. It's easy to talk about science of mind and spirit. It is the practice of, it is the teaching of Dr. Holmes. It is blah, 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 and jargon and faith and consciousness and jargon versus let's get really down to it. What is it? And not just what is it in terms of this is how I explain it, but what is it as it shows up as my life that I am living. See, many of us can talk about love, but we talk about it as this abstract. What does love look like? Because once again, being repetitious, being repetitive, saying the same stuff again to drive home a point. If I say I love you, how do you know? Simply because I told you? Well, what does it look like? Because there are many abusive people who say they love their husband, their wife, their partner, their children, their dog, but their behavior is anything but loving. Their behavior is abusive. So it doesn't matter what you say, it matters more what you do. Well, what does love have you do? What does compassion have you do? When love is acting, what does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? What is it transforming? When empathy is acting, what is it teaching? What is it transforming? What is it shifting? And what? When science of mind and spirit is the very embodiment of who and what I am, and it shows up. There's an old samurai, and I may have mentioned this before. There's an old samurai maxim that says the person who has attained mastery of an art reveals it in their every action. The person who has attained mastery of science of mind and spirit will reveal it in their every action. What does that look like? What does that mean? Because otherwise, we're simply addicted to the terms. We're addicted to the jargon, but we're not convicted to the change and transformation. We know this from many quote unquote fundamentalist Christians that behave in the exact opposite of this Jesus that they say is their God and Savior. He represented great love and compassion, acceptance and transformation. And you are the exact opposite of that. All of your actions, it's the opposite. So we know what it looks like in a certain way. But our invitation is to say, okay, but now that I can identify, same thing as going to the paint store to get a variety of swatches for colors. This is something we even talked about a couple of months ago. I think it was back in January when I think it was Mickey that made a comment about, or I made a comment and Mickey was like, yeah, I got you. I'm right there with you, referencing seeing all the various swatches and choosing the color that, okay, there are 17 different blues that I can choose from. And that's too many choices. And it's the same thing with the jargon. It's easy to become shut down and so enmeshed in and engrossed in and entrenched in the lexicon of metaphysics that we are focused on the words, but not what the words offer. Because I can say the word water, water, water. I can say agua, mizu, vaser. I can say the words. Doesn't matter. No one can drink what I'm saying. And when I bring the glass of H2O, they don't care what it's called. Is it clean? Can I drink it? Will it? The essence matters far more. So how are we living the essence of the teaching as a way of life? How are we leaning into to ask questions about the teaching that expand our understanding of it, that expand our practice of it, versus just simply taking a phrase that Reverend Ray said, accept it and do. Something that Reverend Amani said, take it and do. No, take it, extrapolate, explore, dig, go spelunking, break it apart and put it back together. Twist it around. Look at it from every angle. What resonates? What doesn't resonate? If it resonates, can I identify why it resonates? Is it simply because it feels good or because I understand it and I can apply it because it's relevant? Well, why doesn't it resonate? Because I don't want to face whatever this is and it makes me uncomfortable, or it doesn't resonate because there's some other, it's an anthropomorphic idea of God or whatever that. Now let me extrapolate and explore deeper, and yeah, that's not mine. It's one of the things that I often talk to my oldest son and my daughter-in-law about, because they are avid Abraham Hicks folks. And that's neither here nor there, but they're unwilling to break it down, and they judge themselves for not being able to live up to what is being presented about the law of attraction, et cetera. And they believe that by getting into that loop of unacceptance and whatever that is, that they fall further down the spiral of, and then I have to help them deconstruct it and get back to the truth of the matter and the practice, the applicable practice. And I tell them that's why I don't do Abraham Hicks anymore. I did many years ago, but not anymore, because it's not relevant. It does not resonate with me. Now, there are things that are said that I'm like, yeah, that. But when you get to this, that everything you experience, you brought into your life. No. That you attracted everything. No. No. That's actually spiritual immaturity to say that, because it implies that the Africans who were kidnapped, through the law of attraction, they attracted the kidnapping and the enslavement and the lynchings and the Jim Crow South that Emmett Till attracted through the law of attraction, his lynching and beating, that Dr. King attracted his assassination, as did Malcolm X and many others, Gandhi, etc., that those who are in war-torn countries now attracted it, that the Jews attracted the Holocaust, etc., etc. It is spiritual immaturity to go down that route, because there are far too many other factors that come into play. It is not as simple as what's in your consciousness. So this week, our invitation, new, now, what's next? So I'm having a new thought. Okay, so now what? And what's next? Because if we are ever evolving consciousness and expression, then we are ever re-examining, discerning, shifting, moving continuously, rather than simply accepting like not everything is ours to eat. I grew up in a house where my mother and all of my brothers ate chitlins. My father and I were the only two in the house who didn't eat chitlins. It's just me. A lot of family members ate pig feet, pig ears, snout, all the stuff. I even grew up and I ate barbecue, barbecued ribs. I don't eat pork anymore, but I did then. But even then, there was certain pork I didn't eat. I ate bacon, I ate pork chops, I ate barbecued ribs, but I didn't eat pig feet or chitlins. Not everything that can be eaten is ours to eat. Just because someone preaches it, teaches it, says it, quotes it, not all of that is ours to receive, accept, and act upon. Yeah, that's not mine. It's too salty. It's too bitter. It's too sweet. That's somebody else can eat that if that's theirs. It's not mine to eat. So new, whatever is being renewed, new thoughts, new ways of taking care of ourselves, whatever is new, be in the now with it. As an ever moving, ever shifting, ever presence, representing itself always, moment by moment. That's why there is no enlightened and I'm done. I am ever enlightening, ever being more and more enlightened, ever more and more. I don't love done, ever and ever more love and more loving, receiving more love, feeling more love, giving more love, more and more, moment by moment, ever moving, ever evolving, ever shifting, ever breathing, ever being. That's our practice this week. And as Superman told Lois Lane in the movie The Man of Steel, when she said, well, what does the S stand for? And he said, where I'm from, this isn't an S. Where I'm from, this symbol means hope. So this week, lean into the energy of hopefulness. Lean into the energy of exploration and questions. Lean into the energy of what is mine and what is not mine. Lean into the energy of being present and being you as a divine incarnation of the universe. Live long and prosper. Much love and appreciation. I will see you all very, very, very soon.